Welcome to this Destination Staffordshire Best in Class Reputation for Small Business Part 2. The Best in Class Reputation webinar is in fact in 6 parts. In part 1 we looked at clarifying what you are selling and to who, and in this part 2 we're going to be talking about building marketing messages that manage expectations in order for you to achieve the best in class reputation that you want and deserve. In part 3, we'll talk about building excellence in every part of your business, then how to manage that excellence in every part of your business, understanding how to gain reviews and good feedback, and how to manage negative feedback. So in this first part of part 2 of Best in Class Reputation, we're looking at building the marketing messages that really manage expectation from the off. We talked about in part 1 about the necessity to understand very clearly what experiences your audiences are hoping for when they book with you, and also what feelings they have invested in you, and the importance of having empathy with your customers. Building marketing messages is really important, and again we're talking about experience over stuff. So it's really important that you are clear about what your customer's journey is, from dreaming, planning, to booking, experiencing and sharing, so that you can fully empathize about what they're hoping from their stay or their visit with you. It's also really worth noting that Google search is evolving, or any other search engine for that matter, but let's focus on Google for now. Google search is evolving in many different ways, but more specifically it can be noted that the way that people search on Google has changed markedly, from searching for stuff, products, items, and beginning to search in a much more emotional way. So in the past they might have searched for 2-bedroom cottages in Staffordshire, but now they might search for romantic haven in Staffordshire for 2. You can see the difference. So it's important that you understand that language, and that to make sure that your marketing messages, whether it's on your website content, whether it's on content on your social media or emails that you're sending out to subscribers, reflect that language that they are already using on Google search. If you're not quite sure how to achieve that, start by searching on Google in the same way that you believe your customers to be searching. So for example, if it is a romantic hideaway in Staffordshire and you think that those are the keywords and phrases that they're using, then put in that search, and there are 2 things that will happen. First of all, you can simply press return and get the results and see where you are, and see whether your website or your social media is pulled up in the answers to that question and to that search. Are you using the right language in your messages to help build that expectation and manage that? Or before you press return, notice what other options Google brings up for you underneath. So Google will bring up options that are similar, that other people have searched for. So people will have previously searched for romantic break for 2 in Staffordshire, maybe, instead of romantic hideaway, for example. Google will start to predict what you're trying to search for based on what other people have searched for. So it starts to give you an idea of the realities of search terms around your business, as opposed to what you might be guessing are the search terms. When you've done this search, if you scroll to the bottom of your Google search page, you will also notice that they have related searches. And this is really useful to get to understand what Google sees as the related searches to yours based on what other users have searched for. And this starts to give you a more in-depth understanding of the language that people are using around the search area that you've looked at. And this helps you build your marketing messages to manage expectation, because you can start to use those feelings words, use those experiential words that people are searching for in your own marketing as part of your content, your keywords in your website, your metadata and titles, for example, maybe even in the alt tags of your photos on your website. And you will start to deliver messages that provide your audience and Google users with the confidence that not only have you got what they're looking for, but that you understand what they need and want. And it's really the beginning of your relationship with your customers. This is the beginning of your reputation building. Imagine that when you achieve best-in-class reputation, it is a series of very, very small building blocks that you are building up over a period of time. And those building blocks start from that very first search. That very first search that helps users understand that you get what they're looking for. So you are using the language that matches theirs. So that's very important to remember. And also that it goes without saying that what goes along with that is creating visual appeal in your marketing messages, so that you are not only talking the talk, but you're showing them that you understand what this means. This might be original content from you. So it might be just the images and the video of your place, for example. If we stick to the romantic bolt hole example, then the views from the windows, pictures of strawberries and champagne, all those sorts of images that you can imagine clearly. But also, it will help your customers to really start to imagine what it's going to be like at your place. They can start to visualize themselves in your place, and that is when those feelings become secure and your reputation builds. It's also worth noting at this point as well that it isn't just about your original content, but it's also about your other customers or previous guests' content too. So don't be afraid to share testimonials, share videos. Encourage your existing guests to have tagged you in to your place, for example, on social media, or shared your information in order that they will, or get them to engage really in comments maybe under your social media posts, for example, to really help those users who are now searching for you to understand where your reputation lies. And again, this is another several little building blocks in your quest for that best-in-class reputation, because understanding what other people say is so important. It goes without saying then that the reviews that other people see are also entirely crucial. But it isn't reviews alone. It is about the little comments on social media. It's about what other people say about them. It's what their friends say about them. And it's those words that keep getting repeated in reviews and in comments and in your original marketing messages themselves that really help users and audience to start to build up an understanding of really what it is that you're going to deliver for them as part of their experience. It's also important to be authentic in all this. It goes without saying that there are lots of people who overpromise and underdeliver in this in tourism and in the leisure industry. Oftentimes it's easy to imagine that something is going to deliver something, a place is going to deliver feelings beyond all expectations and it's all going to be guaranteed, but that's actually not a reality. It's much better to, as it says here, under promise and over deliver. So imagine a situation where you have placed some of those marketing messages out there, and maybe you haven't used original images, for example, and you've used a stock image of champagne and strawberries, and they get there and it's not quite the same. Immediately, that's several building blocks taken down, isn't it? Because it's those small little imaginations, all that expectation and hope and dream is in all those tiny little elements. So it could be just that you need to use original imagery, that authenticity needs to be there, that you are not underselling yourself in any way and you're not holding back, but you are also more than enough delivering the extras. So we've already talked about this earlier on, about guests who talk about, you know, the homemade cake that was left rather than the fact that it had crisp white sheets, because it's those little extras that make all the difference. So if you are able to under promise and slightly over deliver, again, this is going to be mentioned in your reviews, and this is going to be mentioned in engagement and comments on social media when others report those little extra moments of magic that you have produced as part of the experiences that you're offering. So it could be the chocolates on the bed, it could be the extra homemade biscuits on arrival, it could be the roaring fire they weren't expecting. It's all those other bits. And obviously, clearly, what you don't want to be doing is promising guaranteed outcomes, but it's important then that those show that those bits of love, really, that you are showing your guests the love in all the small ways that you would with a best friend, that you would with somebody close, somebody you had built a relationship with, that is where all those little building blocks are being built up. Keep to your story. So we've talked a lot about this, about understanding the why and the story in your business, telling the story of why you're there. Maybe your family run, maybe your business has been there for many generations, maybe you moved to that area so that you got to see that view while you worked every day, and that's what's important. Maybe you decided to run a bed and breakfast there because that's where you got engaged. All those bits of story really, really help. We're keeping on a very romantic theme here, but you can see how this would apply across all different types of tourism activities and places to stay. So make sure that you're keeping to your story so that your potential customers and your audiences, as part of your marketing, have their expectations managed, but they also have confidence and feel like they are part of your story, so that they feel like they are in that story and they're going to be part of it when they come to stay, or when they join your event, or when they come to you. And being part of your story and feeling secure in that relationship with you really helps build your reputation. Those little bricks are getting built upon every time those little things happen. Clearly, in your marketing, you don't want to be promising guaranteed outcomes like, a guaranteed marriage proposal, or perfectly happy kids all the time, or permanent sunshine. And, it's very easy to oversell. You see your competitors talking about having the best cream tea in Staffordshire, and you think, well, ours is better, and they're overselling, so you try and oversell as well, and then it might not be quite right. It's much better, in the example of a cream tea, unless you've been awarded the best cream tea in Staffordshire, and that's an actual award with a certificate, which is a different thing. But otherwise, rather than saying this is the best cream tea in Staffordshire, it might be better to say something like, our cream teas are made with love every morning by Sue, our dream baker. Or feel the love when you eat our cream tea, or gather round with friends and enjoy a cream tea full of nostalgia. You can see that there's a subtle difference here, that you're not promising that it's going to be the best cream tea that they've ever had, because after all, that's entirely subjective, but you are talking about that you can really guarantee the experience they will have around that cream tea. So really, to be careful about what you're promising as part of your marketing in order to manage those expectations. It's also really important not to use too much small print. So again, if you are claiming best cream tea in Staffordshire and then small print underneath, we haven't actually got the certificate, but we think we're the best, is kind of phony, and you're losing authenticity all the time. People don't read small print either. So if it turns out that your big promise wasn't quite as good as they thought, they're immediately disappointed, and a load of bricks are lost off your little tower that you're being built, your reputation tower. and those bricks have taken off and never to be returned, because once somebody loses faith, then that trust in the relationship is gone. So again, you know what experience you can deliver, but make sure that you're not over promising, and make sure you're not promising or adding things to your marketing messages which in fact have small print, because people don't read it and they will think that you have tried to dodge them out of something, that you will lose trust. And as I've already mentioned, using testimonials is really great, because, hey, what other people say about you is so important. So this isn't necessarily just pointing people to your TripAdvisor reviews or your Facebook reviews or your Google reviews, but it's also maybe making a great visual out of an actual testimonial with quotes in, or maybe you can even get a happy guest to put on a 30-second video about, I had the best time of my life here, or this, this cottage really did have the dream views I'd always hoped for. And because that kind of genuine, authentic, human to human content really is much more authentic and manages expectation much, much better. So it's important you tell your story, it's important you're authentic, it's important you don't over promise and under deliver, and it's important you don't use small print. So really, if we look in conclusion of this Best in Class Reputation Part 2, it's important that you are in relationship. You understand you're in relationship with your customers. They are investing their money and their time and their dreams and hopes in their visit with you, or their stay with you, or their meal with you. So it's really important that you are honest, clear, and authentic, that you don't overpromise, but that you do highlight what you know you can create in terms of experience. Never be tempted to over-egg or promise the world, but do promise them what you know you can deliver, and you will be able to manage the expectations of your audience via your marketing. And so that best-in-class reputation gets to be built from the very beginnings of their search on Google without ever being diluted along the way.